Jamal woke up the next morning to a dull ache in his ribs and the smell of disinfectant. The light from the barred window fell across his face like thin blades. He turned his head and saw Dr. Emily Hayes again, sitting beside his bed with a clipboard in her hands. Her eyes were kind but sharp, studying him, thinking. "You were talking in your sleep," she said softly. "You kept saying, 'I didn't do it.'" Jamal looked away. "That's all I ever said." "Didn't matter." Emily hesitated, then leaned closer. "What if it did matter? What if someone actually listened this time?" Her words struck him like a shock. Nobody had said that to him in years. "What do you mean?" he asked. She didn't answer right away. Instead, she pulled out a small folder from her bag. "I looked through your case files last night. There are things that don't make sense. Evidence that was never tested, missing security footage, even a witness statement that was changed." Jamal frowned, hardly daring to hope. "Why are you doing this?" Emily gave a small, sad smile. "Because I believe you. And because if I had a son your age, I'd want someone to fight for him too." From that moment, everything began to shift. Whenever she had breaks from her medical rounds, Emily visited him, bringing books and quiet conversation. Jamal tried to guard his heart, but her presence broke through his walls. She was gentle, yet relentless, always asking questions, always searching. Meanwhile, outside those gray walls, Emily began digging deeper. Her father, Charles Hayes, was a powerful man, the minister for the civil service, a man who built his career on maintaining order. He didn't take kindly to his daughter's obsession with a convicted felon. One evening, Emily sat at the long oak dining table across from him. "Father," she said carefully, "I need to reopen a case. There's a man in prison who doesn't belong there." Charles didn't look up from his newspaper. "Emily, you're a doctor, not a lawyer. If he's there, it's because the courts decided he should be." "But what if they were wrong?" she pressed. "The evidence was weak." The police ignored leads. They assumed he was guilty because he was... "Because he was what?" her father interrupted sharply. "Because he was black," she finished quietly. Charles sighed, folded his paper, and looked her in the eye. "Emily, you don't understand how complicated these things are. You can't save everyone." "I don't want to save everyone," she said, her voice trembling. "Just the one who never had a chance." That night, she slipped copies of Jamal's files into her briefcase and drove to an old colleague of her father's, a retired investigator who owed her family a favor. "I just need you to look at this," she said, laying out the evidence. "Tell me if I'm crazy." The man studied the documents, his brows knitting together. "You're not crazy," he muttered after a long pause. "You're looking at a frame-up." Emily's heart pounded. "Can you prove it?" He nodded slowly. "If I can get access to the original surveillance footage, yes." The one they said was lost. 2 weeks later, Emily sat in her car outside the courthouse, holding a USB drive in her trembling hand. On the screen was the real footage, clearer, restored, undeniable. The man who robbed the store wasn't Jamal. He was white, taller, older, and already on record for a similar crime. Emily didn't waste a second. She drove straight to her father's office, storming past secretaries and guards until she stood in front of his desk. "Look at it," she demanded. "You have the power to fix this, Dad." "Don't tell me justice matters if you won't act when you can." Charles watched the footage in silence. When it ended, he leaned back, speechless. For the first time, he saw what his daughter had seen all along, not a criminal, but a boy destroyed by the system he represented. "I'll make some calls," he finally said, his voice low. "But Emily, this will get messy." "I don't care," she said. "He's innocent." Within days, the story broke. News outlets exploded with headlines. New evidence in wrongful conviction case. Teen imprisoned for 4 years, now proven innocent. Inside the prison, Jamal didn't know any of this yet. He just noticed that guards suddenly treated him differently, that whispers followed him down the corridor. Then, one morning, a guard came to his cell. "Carter," he said gruffly, "pack your things." Jamal frowned. "Why? Am I being moved?" The guard gave a half smile. "You're going home." The courtroom was packed when Jamal was officially exonerated. His mother wept uncontrollably as the judge apologized on behalf of the state. The real perpetrator, a man named Todd Weaver, was arrested the same day. When Jamal stepped outside the courthouse, blinking into the sunlight, the world felt impossibly bright. Reporters shouted his name, microphones pressed forward, cameras flashed. But all he saw was Emily, standing near the steps, tears streaming down her face. He walked toward her slowly. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Emily whispered, "I told you someone would listen." He smiled through tears. "And you were the one who did." The state awarded him $1 million in compensation, though no amount could return the 4 years stolen from him. He used the money to start a foundation for wrongfully convicted youth, a place that offered legal aid, therapy, and hope. Emily often volunteered there, though their relationship faced constant scrutiny. Some people couldn't understand it. A white woman from a powerful family in love with a black man who'd been in prison. It was too much for them to process. But Emily and Jamal didn't care. Their bond had been forged in truth and pain, and no prejudice could erase that. Months later, they visited the old neighborhood in Cedar Hills. The same houses stood, the same people watched, but this time their stares were different. Guilty, ashamed, curious. Jamal stopped in front of the store that had changed his life forever. "Do you ever regret fighting for me?" he asked quietly. Emily shook her head. "Not for a second." He looked at her, eyes soft but strong. "Then maybe it was all meant to happen, every ugly part of it. Because without the pain, I never would have found you." She smiled, took his hand, and together they walked down the street where his nightmare began, now as equals, as survivors. Behind them, the sun sank low, painting the sky gold and red, two colors blending into something new. And in that fading light, Jamal whispered to himself, "They took my years, but not my soul." Like and subscribe for more.